All right, in this video, we are going to work through the following in-class problem. So it says write a JavaFX program with two buttons and a text object. Clicking on one button should move the text object to the left, and clicking on the other button should move the text object to the right. All right, and then some directions on how to build the GUI. It says start with a border pane. Insert an H box in the bottom of the border pane, two buttons in the H box. Insert a pane in the center of the border pane, and then insert a text object in the pane. All right, so let's get started on that. All right, so first off, right, this is going to be a JavaFX application, so we need to import javafx.application.application and put in your class header, and don't forget it needs to extend application because all of our JavaFX applications will be child classes of application. And then we will need a start method. That's an abstract method in the application class. We're also going to need the import for that stage, so import javafx.stage, and some of the other ones we're going to need javafx.scene. We're gonna need the one for button, so that's javafx.control.button. We're gonna need one for the border pane, so that's javafx.scene.layout.border and we'll need hbox as well. I think it was hbox and pane, so let's just put asterisks there instead of those things. All right, and so let's see, we want to start with a border pane as our root component. And then create a scene object. Using root, and then let's set this to 400, 300. Set the scene. Set the title. And test that out. Let's see, javafx.scene.control. All right, so there we go, right? Got the basic thing up. All right, now let's continue to build our GUI. We need an HBox, a pane, a button, two buttons, and a text object. So let's start adding those. So an HBox, pane, a button, and one of these is going to make the text move to the left, so I'll put left on it, and so let's just call these left and right. try that. Let's see if it'll go. All right, so far so good. Still blank because we haven't put any of these things in there. So, okay, so let's see how they want it again. So, HBox goes in the bottom of the border pane. All right, so that would be root.setBottom HBox. The buttons go into the HBox, so let's do that. So that would be hbox.getChildren.addAll, and then put the left and the right buttons in there. The pane goes in the center. So that would be root.set center pane. And then let's see, let's just check all that and compile it, make sure that looks okay. So next then the text object, which we don't have. So let's take a look at that. So that's JavaFX 11. And that is text. All right, so that is javafx.scene.text.text. All right, so we're going to need that import. Oops. All right, let's take a look at the constructors, because we need to create a new one. So you can create some empty text. You can create text on the given coordinates containing the given string, and you can just create some with text in here. Okay, so I'm just going to create the one with text in there, and then I'm just going to use dot relocate to position the text. Actually, let's just try the other one. Let's see. So give it some coordinates. Let's go 200, 200. It doesn't really matter what's in there. All right, and so then we need to add that to the pane. So pane dot get children dot add text. All right, and let's try that and see how it goes. All right, so that's how it looks. The text is kind of not in the middle. It'd be a little bit better if it were in the middle here. So let's go with 180 and 100 on that. And these buttons, right? They are. I kind of want those in the middle, not all the way pushed over here to the side. So in order to do that, what we would do is adjust its border pane dot set alignment. And then the child is the H box that we want. Right, these two buttons are in this H box. So let's put that in the center. using the set alignment method. So hopefully that will shift that over here, and hopefully this text will be kind of more in the middle. We are going to have to use the geometry class here, so import javafx.geometry.pause, I believe it is. Now let's try that. Oops. All right, that compiled okay. Looks fairly decent. That did not work. On the alignment there. Okay, so let's on the H box. So that's probably aligned okay, but these buttons are probably not aligned in the H box the way we want to. So let's try that. H box dot set alignment, and then pause the center. All right, so that looks pretty good. Not quite perfect, but that's all right for now. All right, the thing is on this, right, is that when we click these buttons, nothing happens, right? Because we haven't handled any of the events that are generated, right? Right now there's no event handlers for these. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do next. Go ahead and add those in. Okay, so we can do one of two things, right? We can, in the last example, which was the first example, we created a separate message, right? Our separate method, rather, to do the event handling for our button last time, right? This time, what I want to do is just use a lambda expression. So I'm not going to add an extra method in here. I am just going to use the methods that come with the text object, right, to kind of move it back and forth. All right. So what I want to do then is go here to the left button, right, and its name is left. So I'm going to do set on action. And then inside here, I'm going to type a lambda expression. And what I want that lambda expression to do, right, is to move this text object, right, to the left. So one of the things is I define the text object way down here, right, and I need to refer to that. So I need to move this line down a little bit, at least after I define text. Okay. All right, and so what I'm going to do with the text object is I'm going to call a method in the text object to get its location within that pane. Okay, and so if I look at the text object, right, and look at its methods down here, you can see that one of those, right, is the getX method, and you can see it says gets the value of the property X. So basically that's going to tell us the X value of its location. Okay. All right. So and all of these get methods, right, you can use those to get at some of the values that are in those objects. Okay. And use those to do various things. These are also related to something else in JavaFX called properties. But for right now, we're just going to expose these through these methods. Okay. All right. So so here I'm going to put getX, and so for right now, I'm just going to print this out so you can see what it is doing. So notice this is a little bit different from the previous example here. I'm just typing the method code basically straight in here in this lambda expression. If you forget how to do that for more complicated lambda expressions, you can go back and take a look at the functional section where we talked about that. All right, so let's compile that, make sure everything's okay, run it. All right, so now when I click on this left button, right, it is going to generate an action event, and then this, the event loop, right, that's running in the background, and that's implemented in this application object that we're inheriting from. What's going to happen is it's going to say, okay, an action event was generated, and so it's going to call this method, all right? So text.getX is going to get the location of where this is, which was at 160, 140, and then it's going to print out the X value of that down here. Right, and so you can see, hey, it was at 160, that's what it's printing out. Every time I click that button, you can see it's printing out that the text object was at this location right inside the pane. All right. So that's good, right? We can get the location of the text object. But what we really want, right, is for that text object to actually move some distance. All right. And so what we would do is, if you look inside the text object, along with this get methods, there's also, right, some set methods right here. So set x, that's going to allow us to set the value of the x coordinate of its location, and that's what we're going to do. So that's really what we want to do. All right, so close this out. So what I want to do is do text.setX in here. All right, so this part inside here is going to get the current location, right, of the text object, and then I am going to subtract some number off of that. The bigger the number, the farther left it's going to move each time, right? So I'm just going to do 3 right here. So this interior part gets the current location, right, as the x coordinate of where it's located. This subtracts 3, so it makes it smaller. And then when I do text.setX, right, that sets the new location, right, in the x axis to 3 lower than what it was, right? So when I click the button once, it's going to be moved over to, the text object is going to be moved to 157, right? And then I click it again, it's going to be 154, and so on and so forth. All right. Oh, and I don't need to be printing that out, so I'll just remove this println. Like so. All right, and so now when I run it, the text should move to the left when I click the left button. And here we go. All right, there you go. You can see it's now moving to the left. The right button, still nothing, right, is happening on that. I need to go back and add that code in there. That's very, very easy. All I need to do is to do the set action on the right button, which I called right. And then instead of subtracting 3 from the position, right, I am going to add 3, and that will cause it to move to the right when the right button is clicked. All right, and so here we go. Click on the right button, it moves right. We click on the left button, it moves left. All right, and so that is it on this example.